Well, happy Wednesday evening, everybody over there in the chat room. And we're not live yet, but we'll be going live in a couple of minutes. And thank you all for gathering and for being here tonight. I appreciate it. And how was your day today? I'm just getting all set up over here. And we're doing all right. Got to make sure all my buttons are pushed correctly tonight. And I got to start the show. Started a little late last night, and that picks up in the broadcast. So you know what I got to do, too? I got to, just hearing a little echo coming from somewhere, so I got to plug my headset in. Hang on. I got to turn this thing a little bit so I can. I don't know why Apple built this computer so all the plugins are on the back, and you can't do anything without turning the whole darn thing. So there we go. Headset plugged in. Get it all back to where it's supposed to be. Let me check my sound. We got about a little over right around 2.5 minutes before we actually get rolling. Testing 1 2. There it is. Okay, it's in my ear. My sound is down a little bit. I'm going to turn that up. Boom. Hope everybody's doing all right tonight. Yeah, you can push my buttons all right, Grumpy. It's the way it goes, huh? Your shop's looking pretty nice down there in Louisiana. So, hey, Leslie. My ticker tape isn't running. Oh, thank you. You know, there's always something. And now there's an added thing. I got to turn on a different recording device, too, to just record the audio of the show. And that's so we can it can play in the loop over at Odyssey Radio. If you go to odysseyradio.com, you get just the audio there, and they have encore performances of this show, and I've got to have a recording of it. Hey, Brianna, how you doing? Good to see you. And Field Guy, good to see you. We run this. You guys are the best. So let's see what time we got. 9:03 and 19 seconds. So we got about a minute and we go live. So, and when we go live, I'm going to turn the screen black so we can start the, well, you know what? I don't really need to. I don't need to turn the screen black because it blots out my camera when the show intro plays. So we're going to do the intro with the advertisement at the beginning, and then it'll go into the beginning of the show. How about that? Oh, no, wait, I better do it the other way around. I better do the intro first because that's when it's going to tune in. Okay, we're going to go here in a minute, so I'm going to go dark. Be right back. Stand by.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, good night. Good night. Good evening. Welcome to the program tonight. This is Scotty Roberts. You're listening to and watching the Intrepid radio program live here on the Odyssey radio station. It's Odyssey Radio, ODYSY radio.com. Come on over, see all the goodness that's Odyssey Radio. And did you know that you can also listen to this show at different points in the day? Tomorrow, you'll hear encore shows over at Odyssey, and it's only the audio, but that's fine. You can just plug in your headset as you go to bed tonight and maybe hear an archive. You can also hear that over at my Spreaker account, and that's at Spreaker. Just look up the Intrepid radio program. I don't have the link right here, but it's in the matter below if you're over on the YouTube channel. You can watch this show in video and join the live chat room over at my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Scotty Roberts. And you can also watch over on Facebook over at the Odyssey Radio page. And all those links are down in your footer to this show down below. So thank you for being here tonight, folks. I appreciate the fact that you take your time, at least an hour every day, and come and spend it with me over here. And, Field Guy over there in our chat room on the YouTube channel made a special request of me by message tonight. And he said he wants to see a peanut butter segment. Now, I think he meant that to be in the little bit of an after show that we do every night. We got about 10 or 15 minutes. If you stick around over on the YouTube channel, we have a little afterglow after the show. But in playing up the peanut butter angle, I was thinking about, do you remember, I mentioned some time ago on the show, there was a scene from a movie that was edited out in its day. It was the 1957 version of Spartacus. I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus. I'm Spartacus. And then they all get crucified, of course, along the Appian Way by Crassus. Now, by the way, that was a real event. They crucified, I think, about 5,000 people all along the Appian Way onto the road that goes into Rome for a couple of 100 miles at least. And so that was a real event. But in the movie, played by Sir Laurence Olivier, was Crassus. And he was the Roman general and senator and all of these. I think he was a senator, high official that was in charge of finding and quelling this slave rebellion started by Spartacus. And there was a scene where you all remember Tony Curtis? Tony Curtis. And he was the father of Jamie Lee Curtis, by the way, married to Janet Leigh, who was, what was she in? Janet Leigh, that we remember her from. Hitchcock horror film where she's stabbed to death in the shower scene, Psycho. And so they had a daughter, but he played the young slave Antoninus. And I don't know if they gave him that name because it's Tony Curtis, and they gave him just a Romanized version of Tony. Of course, Tony's a Roman name anyway, I guess, Antonio. But Tony Curtis plays the house slave to Crassus. And there is a scene, and there's a lot of ambiguities in the scene, but the scene was censored out of the original movie because it had homosexual leanings. And even though it didn't come right out and say it, there was so Sir Laurence Olivier playing Crassus, and he's in his it's a hot tub, but it's not really a hot tub. And he is in the water, in his pool, his heated pool, and he's got Antoninus there pouring out of a little amphora some warm water over his shoulders and things, and he starts a conversation, kind of looking over his shoulder a bit, and he says, "So, Antoninus, some men prefer clams, while other men prefer oysters." And he goes on in this vein. And he says, "Which do you prefer? Do you prefer clams or oysters?" And that's really all there is to the scene. And he turns around, and Antoninus has run. And so now he's a slave on the run. So that's very interesting that they would cut that. Today, that is so innocuous a scene, even with its subtle hints at the undertones of what he's getting at, that they cut that from the movie. But much in the same vein, we'll talk about peanut butter. And so, Field Guy, I'm going to ask you out there in our chat room, do you prefer Jif? Because some men prefer Jif on their PB&Js with the crusts cut off. Or do you prefer Peter Pan? So what is it? What is it, Fielditis? Is it Jif or is it Peter Pan? Which do you prefer? And that's all the farther I'm going with the peanut butter analogy tonight. So, not really innocuous. Clams can refer to female genitalia, says Sarah Yusuf. Yes, you're absolutely right. And I think that's what it was meant to do even back then. So, by the way, folks, if you're listening only and you want to see and join the chat room, go on over to the Facebook page, the Odyssey Radio Facebook page, or come on over to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Scotty Roberts, and you can join the family, the Intrepids that are over there. And while some of you over at Odyssey might think this is a new show to Odyssey, to the radio base, the radio lineup over there, we've been doing this show for darn close to 3 years on Odyssey Radio. This is just the new incarnation. So I want to thank you all for being here, by the way. And let's see, Roger, I see, Michelle Canham Free, Grumpy Stack, Leslie Holker, Carly Sagan, Matt Finn, Master Finn, my first in command over on the chat room. So, and everybody else who's over there, if you're there, thank you for being here. I appreciate you all being here tonight. And now, this show, we do psychological stuff sometimes, getting into the psychology of life, of who we are. But that isn't all we're doing. But this is the series I've started out with this week. We also do all sorts of paranormal and the strange and all of those kinds of things. We do weird history. We do real history. I love history. I just did, by the way, I did a little interview with Micah Hanks, my old friend Micah Hanks, a couple of days ago, and that aired yesterday. And we talked about the history of the sword and the clay. He really wanted to dig into the Roman history, and we talked about the battles and so on. You can go listen to that if you'd like at any time over at micahhanks.com. And so this show, we go way across the board. You can see down in the scrolling bar, the paranormal, the psychology, the science, UFO phenomena, spirituality, weird history, earth history, All of those different things are the kinds of topics we cover. And right now we just happen to be in a topic that I chose because I think it's a good one for us all to think about. And that is the self-esteem issue, the self factor. There's so much, and I mentioned this the last couple of nights in introducing this topic each night. There's so much that goes on out there about, oh, we all have to, and we've heard it for years, you've got to have good self-esteem. Or they say in marriage, if you're not happy with yourself, you can be happy to no one. So ditch and go make yourself happy. Whereas I think that that is a misinterpretation of what this is all about, what self-esteem is about, what happiness is about. We're going to talk a little bit about that happiness factor tonight. We're not going to get into ghosts tonight. We're not going to get into ufology or Bigfoot or other cryptids or all of that kind of thing. But we're going to get into this. This is one of our psychological topics for tonight. And so I hope you enjoy this stuff because for me, I don't talk about it if it doesn't mean something for me. It's like I've said about this show in general. If I don't like it, I won't talk about it. And by the way, I've got some good guests that are lining up to be on this show. So we're going to do some interviews with people as well, live guests on this show. And I think you'll really enjoy that. And so I see other people coming into the chat room over on the YouTube. Thank you all for being here. I can't say personal greeting to everybody tonight, but I'm sure glad you're all here. You know, I'm thinking about you. And if you stick around at the end of the show tonight, it'll be like being in the movie theater and the credits roll. And after the credits, there's another little clip of stuff going on. And do you know that is, and I mentioned this not long ago and probably more than once, one of my pet peeves about going to the movie theater, and I love the movie theater because I love the big picture and the big sound, which of course you can get in your own home now. You get a 75-inch TV, you set up some nice chairs in one of your room, and you pop your own popcorn. You got a movie theater experience with the big sound, the big picture, and so on. But I love that, and I love the movie theater. I've always gone to the movies, and I hate it when people stand up at the credits. It's like, what are you standing for? The movie's not over yet. I was always, nobody taught me this. I think it was acquired by myself and by me and some of my friends through the years. It's that you do honor to the people who made the movie. You sit through the credits. That's part of the movie. And now they've made it so that if you sit through the credits, you got a little surprise at the end. Sometimes a couple of them. We went to see Ghostbusters as a family, the new Ghostbusters movie, which was actually really good. And there were a couple of really surprised, two of them in the credits that offered you up some fantastic surprises. And so you get up and leave. Why do people get up and leave at the movie theater during the credits? Is because, oh, I got to rush to the parking lot so I don't get stuck here for an extra 3 minutes. And then you stand up, and then the people who want to stay and watch the credits, they got to watch people in front. Hey, sit down. The movie's still playing. It's a pet peeve of mine. So if you want to ruin the movie for the people who sit there, go ahead and make sure you get to your car a couple of minutes early. Because God knows you wouldn't want to take an extra 3 to 5 minutes to pull out of that parking lot. So there you go. That's my thinking on it. So, yeah, Leslie Holker sits till it's done, she said. And so there's my encouragement on that today. I got so much stuff on my desk that I love to talk about and so many things I want to get into on this show tonight and every night. So many different little tidbits of things. Today, I'll be honest, I didn't look at the news at all today. I had a very short night. I woke up at about 3 o'clock. Poof, I'm awake. I'm like, why am I awake at 3 o'clock? And I laid there trying to force myself to go back to sleep. But what happens when you do that? Your mind becomes way overactive. And so I laid there for a good 45 minutes to an hour trying to put my body back to sleep. And it was like, screw it, I'm getting up. And I finally got up around 4 o'clock. And then Rainey came running upstairs. I'm up there and I'm getting some coffee and stuff like that made up. And she runs upstairs and she said, there's somebody outside. I saw somebody outside through the window. And I'm like, I don't know. And so we both went outside in our shorts and our bedwear and barefoot and looking to see if somebody was. They've had a problem in our neighborhoods over here in little podunk Somerset of people coming into the neighborhoods and targeting a lot this particular neighborhood and stealing catalytic converters off of cars. They jack them up, they have them off in 2 minutes. They're also rifling through cars. There's a friend of my kids whose mother in the thick of winter a few weeks ago had her car running to warm up outside at 7:30 in the morning, and somebody stole her car. And so, and we don't live in a bad part of town. We live out in a little rural community out in the country. And so it's not like, we're in the thick of here's a naughty word, the ghetto. Somebody called me on using that word the other day, ghetto, because I said, hi, good night. I said in my bio, which has existed for several years, it says in there that when I throw up a bio for either doing a radio show with somebody else or something that somebody's looking at my work, my bio says that I'm an artist, I'm an illustrator, I'm a designer. Hi, baby.
Hi.
You're going to bed?
Maybe.
Maybe, she says. It's never just a straight answer. And so I say, if you're, I'm an illustrator, I'm a designer, I'm a writer of fiction and nonfiction, occupationally hovering in the advertising ghettos of Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota. That's the way I said it. Now, somebody actually took me to task for that, or tried to. I guess taking somebody to task means that you actually are taking them to task. I didn't feel taken to the task. But somebody was trying call me out for using the term ghetto. Ghetto means you're obviously racist because you're talking about blah, 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 blah. And on it goes. And I just said, nah. I said, no, that's silly. I said, ghetto has more meanings than that. In the ghetto. And there was I told him, I said, there was the Warsaw Ghetto during World War II. I said, that had nothing to do with racism and black racism and so on. And maybe a racism of a different kind if you want to construe it. But you can't say anything nowadays, was the point. So that's why I whispered the word ghetto. So now it's not bad anymore because I said ghetto. So what do we got here? Noah, no. Yeah, that's Flynn's friend coming in. Noah is cool. YT13. No smelly Ellery, he says. You watch it, kid. That's my daughter you're talking about. I don't care if you're my son's friend. So, yep. Smelly Ellie. That's what he called you. So you'll have to take care of business. So that's kind of funny because my son is up playing a game, which he's supposed to be off of already. Oh, he's off?
He's watching you and typing with Noah.
Oh, he's watching and typing with Noah. That's what it is. So, Flynn, you stand up for your sister up there. Your sister is, you're her hero. You're the big brother. So, make it so. So, oh, he's in the chat. Is Flynn in the chat as well, my son? My 12-year-old boy. You need to start listening to these shows, buddy. There's some good information in here. I know Noah's in here. So, yeah, Noah, there's Flynn. Flynn Plays says, no, I'm not in the chat. That's my son, Flynn, guys. So you can say hi to Flynn. As a matter of fact, you can click on his icon there. You can go see his YouTube and go subscribe to my son's YouTube. He's 12 years old. He puts up all his cool little videos. You can't comment on it, though, because he's a minor. But I don't think you can. But you can like his videos and watch the stuff he puts up. And there's Brianna. She's saying hi to Flynn. So, guys, regarding tonight's show, this is the psychology stuff. I call it the psychology stuff because it deals with what we're made up of. It deals with the stuff in our heads. It deals with how we view ourselves, and and I think that that's important because on this show, when we've talked about the spiritual side of psychology, if you will, the being awake, which once again, I'll say for the 100th time, being awake is not the same as being woke. Woke is a political bit of idiocy. So, what are you doing over there? Okay, why don't you go over by mom for now? Okay, you go over now. Thank you. I love you. Bye. See ya. There you go. Familial interludes. Bye. You want a kiss? See ya. Thank you for ripping my headset out of my head. All right, guys. There you go. Familial interludes. That's always great radio. So sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's annoying, sometimes it's cute. So there we go. All right. Let's carry on. This psychological stuff. This is good for us because when I talk about being awake and being aware that you are awake is different than 90% of people out there. And that's just a random figure, of course, but would you consider yourself to be awake? I'm not talking woke. I'm talking awake. Awake in the spiritual sense. Awake that you see the universe in a very different way. That you know that things are bigger than you and me. That there's much more at play. And are you aware that you are awake? So this is the stuff I like to play into when I get into the psychological side of things. And we were talking last night, we kind of left off talking about the impact of self-esteem and some general observations about that. And I'm going to recap just a little bit, but the level of our self-esteem has really profound consequences for every aspect of our existence. How we operate in the workplace, how we deal with people, how we're likely to rise, how much we're likely to achieve, and in the personal realm with whom we're likely to fall in love, how we interact with our spouse or our significant other, how we interact with our children, our friends, that level of personal happiness that we attain, all is inextricably linked to our self-esteem, how we view ourselves. And there are positive correlations between healthy self-esteem and a variety of other traits that bear directly on our capacity for achievement in life, our achievement in our goals, the success levels we reach, and for ultimately just happiness. Let me stop there for a second. Do you consider yourself to be, first of all, I asked, do you consider yourself to be awake? And then don't just blankly answer, oh yeah, of course I'm awake. It's because you look around. I don't want anybody to think I'm not awake. Being awake, we'll cover that again sometime. But are you awake? Are you aware that you're awake? Are you aware of the universe around you? Are you aware of the bigger picture that goes on around you? And then at the same time, I want to ask you, are you happy? Do you have happiness? Now, that doesn't mean we don't have junk that goes on every day. Happiness, I kind of look at happiness in two ways, and the self-esteem thing that's linked to happiness. There is a linear line of happiness in our lives. You got happiness, you got self-esteem, and that line doesn't change. Then there's the operative line, the day-to-day. It's like a roller coaster that goes up and down and up and down and up and down. There can be days where you're really happy and you're on top of cloud nine. There's days where you're really not because your circumstances or the things going on around you are the things that you allow to dictate the way you feel. And then that dictates the way you act. It happens to me all the time. If the kids eat all the apple pie And I'm like, I didn't get a piece of that pie, damn it. That'll destroy my happiness for the moment. So these are the things that we have. And this is simple stuff. This is rudimentary, basic stuff. Niall Parkinson says, I think anyone who claims that they're awake are lying through their teeth. In order to be awake, you have to embrace and understand what it means to be asleep. That's a very good point, Niall. But I think once you are aware of that, you can claim that I am awake or I am working toward being awake. I don't think you're lying if you claim that you're awake, if you've got a handle on that. I would ask you, Niall, do you have that awareness? I'm not asking you to answer that question, but anybody who thinks along these lines, you have to look inward and you have to ask yourself, do I have this thing? Am I striving toward this thing? Is this something that I am making my own by figuring out why it is I am asleep or the things I am sleeping through? What makes you awake? And that, by the way, Niall, excellent point. So Brianna says, unfortunately, no. LOL, I have no idea what I'm doing. So there you go. Flynn's answer to all this is Minecraft is easy. So as seen from a 12-year-old. So all of this stuff, everything about our happiness, our self-esteem, all of that. And self-esteem, I hate using the term just because it's like saying, I'm part of the paranormal. Well, it's become almost a caricature of itself. Same with self-esteem and seeking self-esteem and so on. So looking at it a little deeper, like even Niall says, can you understand what happiness is if I take what he said and apply it? Can you understand what happiness is if you don't know what unhappiness is? Probably not. Or otherwise, you're just blissfully moving along. So we all have that roller coaster that goes along. We got the linear line of happiness, but the roller coaster can be shot to hell in one day and on cloud nine the next day. So there's these positive correlations. This healthy self-esteem correlates with these things. This is kind of where we left off last night. On rationality, realism, intuitiveness, creativity, independence, flexibility, the ability to manage change, the willingness to admit and correct our mistakes, benevolence, cooperativeness, all of those things are things that tie into healthy self-esteem. And let me ask you to try this because this is a hard one for a lot of people. It's hard for me. I work very hard at this, and yet I still goof up. I would say F up from time to time, but it's that admitting when you're wrong. I try to admit when I'm wrong, but I also fight for my position that I've made. Sometimes I'm like, prove that I'm wrong, and I'll admit it. So, Niall says, I think happiness doesn't exist, that there are lines of moral rectitude which bring us above or below a point of complacency or fear. Maybe to a certain extent, Niall. I think true happiness can exist. Maybe you're thinking a little deeper than that. I've always said to people, or you're thinking it this way. There's a point that you reach that is in a relationship. I talk about love. You can love somebody, but when that love is contingent upon how you feel about that person that day, is it the first day, guys, the first day you wake up and your wife doesn't have a rose in her teeth, are you like, ugh, or she doesn't have makeup on, or you're like, oh, this is a bad day. Maybe I'm not in love with this person. That's superficial. Superficiality at its best, and that's why I use it as an example. So love can come and go. Real love stays. It's an act of the will. It's an act of something that's much deeper than the surface stuff. And our surface things can make us feel one way or the other. So maybe that's what you're getting at a bit, Niall. Where happiness becomes the way, when happiness becomes the way, the goal is irrelevant, says Chase Corrigan. And Corrington, sorry, I don't have my glasses on, Chase. So Carly Sagan says, better to let those people project their problems onto you and not react. And yeah, there is that. So many times we react. Why? Because we've got egos. Sarah Yusuf last night brought up, are we talking the ego here? Well, our ego is involved in it. We let the way we think, the way we want the world to be, control the way we view happiness, the way we view self-esteem, the way we view love, all of that stuff. If it doesn't meet my expectation for today, you are in the shit can. And that's the way we act nowadays. So, healthiest self-esteem, when it's healthy, it forms all this other stuff. It's the basis for achievement and rationality and independence and flexibility, all of those things that we talked about. Conversely, poor self-esteem correlates with irrationality. Now you got to think, what is self-esteem? That's what we're talking. What is it? Why would my poor view of myself affect my rationality? But poor self-esteem correlates with irrationality, with blindness to reality around us. Maybe that's the being asleep that Niall speaks of. Rigidity, meaning I have no flexibility in me whatsoever. It's my way or the highway. Fear of the new, fear of the unfamiliar, inappropriate conformities or inappropriate rebelliousness, this whole defensiveness. Always got to defend everything I say. Over-compliance or over-controlling. Why do we get defensive, by the way? It's because we have poor self-esteem. Now, there are things worthy of defending. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm talking about. When we have an attitude of defensiveness all the time, it's because we're trying to defend something because we don't trust ourselves, like I said last night. So we've got to prove to ourselves that this is the way it's supposed to be. Only defensiveness when guilty, says Carly Sagan. Yeah, I think defensiveness comes up when we're guilty of something or we're projecting something. There's this fear. And by the way, we have a fear of hostility toward others, either to or from. And so the implications for survival, adaptiveness, and personal fulfillment are obvious. Self-esteem is life-supporting and life-enhancing. And as I said, it's self-esteem is the antibodies for the consciousness. So high self-esteem seeks the challenge and the stimulation of the worthwhile. If you see somebody that doesn't want to challenge themselves, that doesn't want to seek stimulation that's worthwhile, that doesn't demand goals of themselves, you're seeing somebody whose self-esteem is off kilter. So high self-esteem has those things. Reaching goals nurtures good self-esteem. Low self-esteem seeks the safety of the familiar. We sink into the background and we don't want to stand out. We don't want to strive for our goals. We just seek the water levels, so to speak. And Niall says here, I think she's got some really good input here. Well, yes, I think happiness is not a one-size-fits-all, and certainly often misunderstood as the offering of receiving of love. The word love is just as problematic as the word happiness. That's true. Now, we can get really deep on these and try to dissect this all, or we're looking at the more simple forms of these words, but Niall is right. Sometimes we don't have an idea of what love and happiness really is, and therefore, we don't know how to gain them, how to get them, how to keep them. And but healthy self-esteem, we have the ability to rise above that. We have the ability to identify those things for ourselves. So the higher our self-esteem, the more ambitious we tend to be. Not necessarily in a career or a financial sense, but in terms of what we hope to experience in life. Emotionally, intellectually, creatively, spiritually. The lower our self-esteem, the less we aspire to greatness. The less we, and by greatness, I don't mean by simplistic is not the word I'm looking for, by a materialistic standard or anything like that. I mean greatness in ourselves. So the higher it is, the stronger we drive toward those things. The lower it is, the more urgent is the need to prove who we are, or to forget ourselves by living mechanically and unconsciously. It's like that. There was a quote of Orson Welles. Remember Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, his big radio broadcast. He was a movie star and producer and director and all of those things through his life. And he says, style, a sense of style is, and I'm paraphrasing him, he says, basically doing what you want and not giving a damn what anybody else thinks. He's got nothing to prove. We've got nothing to prove. If we've got something to prove in everything we do, and now there are times we have to prove ourselves with things. I'm talking about meritorious conduct, things you get paid for. You know, you have to produce, you have to prove yourself worthy of that pay. I get that. That's not what this is talking about. Well, when we're out there with our self-esteem and it's low or it's poor, we're always trying to prove who we are. We're always defensive. We always do that with other people around us. The higher our self-esteem is, the more open and honest and appropriate our communications are likely to be with people. The higher our self-esteem, the stronger drive to express ourselves, reflecting the sense of richness that's coming from inside us, who we are. If your self-esteem is high, you can be a shy person and have high self-esteem. Maybe you aren't going to get out there on a soapbox, but you're going to be able to put forward what you be well to people who have very high self-esteem. So it's that drive to express ourselves. The lower our self-esteem, the more urgent the need to prove who we are. That mechanical living. And we do it unconsciously without even thinking about it. Same with positive self-esteem. We do those things unconsciously, almost without hardly thinking about it. The lower our self-esteem, the more muddy and evasive and inappropriate our communications are likely to be, because of uncertainty about our own thoughts and our own feelings and or anxieties about the listener's response. We get really hooked on those things. There's got to be a point where, there's a point, I care what people think about me. I've got a healthy ego, but I also have a healthy self-esteem. There's a point where I say, I really don't give a good damn what you think about what I believe or what I say. I would love to convince you otherwise. I'll have a great debate with you about things. But if you don't like what I'm thinking, I don't care. It comes down to that. There are some things that I care about, some things that can wound me very deeply, temporal. I'm talking the moment, the jab, the jibe, the dart. And I got to catch myself and go, wow, I really reacted as if I was really offended by that. And I'm not. That's why I've always said all the way along, I have always maintained, you cannot offend me unless I choose to appropriate the offense you're delivering. You call me a fat, sweaty son of a bitch, and I might go, I don't care. I don't care what you think. Sticks and stones may break my bones. Whatever. You get what I'm saying here. You can't offend me unless I choose to appropriate your offense. This whole thing in our society about being woke about things that offend other people, I think people who truly have good self-esteem and are happy people and are working toward that are people that look out to not offend other people. When you offend other people or you go out of your way to try to do that, you're trying to prove something to them, that you think better than they do. And of course, we have a keen eye to not doing that, to being sensitive to people's needs and so on, but not by the woke political correct definition of those things. Because if you try to offend me, you're not going to be successful because I don't care. And when I do care, it's something I might be struggling with internally, and you're hitting the mark with something. So other than that, there it is. You can't offend me unless I choose to be offended. I have to appropriate it. So the higher our self-esteem, the more disposed we are to form nourishing rather than toxic relationships. You been in a toxic relationship? You know what that's all about? I've been there. Rainey's been there. We've all been there. Well, you know what toxic relationships are. I used to get myself associated with a lot of people that seemed to fit the same pattern. They were people who were out to get something and used me for one thing or another. And it took a long time to be able to recognize that and overcome that. Why do I keep attaching me to that same kind of person? Was a question that came up with me a long time ago. So these are things that we need to be aware of. And then when your self-esteem is healthy, you become aware of them. What did I just put up from Roger in the chat room? Me too. I have a feeling anyone would convey that too, who would ignore us. There you go. I put that up by accident, Roger, but there you go. Dave Potter says, I have a list. So there you go. Hey, Sarah Nichols. Good to have you here over in the chat room. And so moving on with this whole thing about self-esteem, the higher our self-esteem, the more open and honest we are. And our communications are open and honest. Because we believe our thoughts have value. Not fallaciously think so. We're not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. But we believe, we trust, back to yesterday what we talked about, we trust the way we think. Excuse me. And when you trust the way you think, you believe that your thoughts have value. And therefore we welcome rather than fear clarity. I don't fear clarity. Do you? The lower our self-esteem, the more muddy, evasive, inappropriate our communications are likely to be because of uncertainty about our own thoughts and our own feelings and our anxieties about how people are perceiving us, all of those things. So the higher our self-esteem, the more disposed we are to form these nourishing rather than toxic relationships. The reason is that like is drawn to like. Health is attracted to health. Vitality and expansiveness in others are naturally more appealing to persons of good self-esteem than they are emptiness and dependency. Let me ask you on that word, any of you feel empty out there? Have you been emptied? Do you know what that feels like? Do you know how that is? And I have children that always want to ask me things during my radio show. Do you need something standing there in the wings?
No, I'm standing.
You're just standing there? Okay, that's Rowan. So say hi to Rowan, everybody. There she is. So there's an important principle of human relationships, and it's that we tend to feel most comfortable, most at home with persons whose self-esteem level resembles our own. Opposites might attract about some issues, but not about this one. You don't usually see somebody who has very high self-esteem seeking relationship with somebody with very low self-esteem. The people with low self-esteem that seem like they have high self-esteem, narcissistic people and so on, they'll seek somebody with low self-esteem because then they can control them. So opposites might attract, but not on this issue. We don't see a passionate love affair, for example, between persons at opposite ends of the self-esteem spectrum. That continuum has to be the same between the two, or very similar. Just as we're not likely to see a passionate romance between intelligence and stupidity. I don't use that as a negative moniker. I use that as, are you intelligent or are you stupid? And I'm not going to say that we might never have a one-night stand and those opposites exist, but that's a whole nother matter altogether. So I want you to see I'm speaking of passionate love, not a brief infatuation or a sexual episode, which can operate by a whole different set of dynamics out there. So medium self-esteem individuals are typically attracted to medium self-esteem individuals. Low self-esteem seeks low self-esteem in others. Not consciously. We don't go, oh, I'm going to go out and look for somebody with low self-esteem today. No, it's the way we act. It's who we are. It's our makeup. And we seek that out. And we're distracted. It's like magnets coming together and pushing apart. There's that force that pushes us away from somebody that has a totally different kind of self-esteem level than we have. And so the most disastrous relationships are those between persons who think poorly of themselves. And the union of two abysses doesn't produce a height. I'm going to tell you. So we tend to feel the most comfortable, most at home with persons whose self-esteem level resembles our own. And the healthier our self-esteem, the more inclined we are to treat others with respect, with benevolence, with goodwill, with fairness. And since we don't tend to perceive them as a threat, and since self-respect is the foundation of respect for others, so with healthy self-esteem, we're not quick to interpret relationships in a malevolent or adversarial terms. And we don't approach encounters with automatic expectations of rejection. That's low self-esteem. Humiliation, treachery, or betrayal. Contrary to the belief that an individualistic orientation inclines one to an antisocial behavior, research has shown that a well-developed sense of personal value and autonomy correlates significantly with kindness, with generosity, with social cooperation, and a spirit of mutual aid. As is confirmed, for instance, there's a comprehensive review that was done by A.S. Waterman in the research in the psychology of individualism. And so finally, research discloses that high self-esteem is one of the best predictors of personal happiness, as is discussed in The Pursuit of Happiness. Logically enough, how low self-esteem correlates with unhappiness. They work hand in hand. So I see a lot of good conversation over in the chat room. We've only got a couple of minutes. I want to get into love, but let's not do that tonight. Let's hit love tomorrow. I'll just say this: there's no greater barrier to romantic happiness than the fear that I am undeserving of love and that my destiny is to be hurt. There's no greater barrier, damaging factor to relationship, to romantic happiness. And we'll talk about that tomorrow night. And Steve Clark says, woke is the past of awake. There it is. So, folks, I want to thank you for being here tonight. Yeah, it's already, that hour is gone. We've only got 52 minutes to make this show work every night. And so we're out of here in just a couple of minutes. So not even a couple of minutes. We're out of here like right now, pretty darn quick. So I want to thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Live long and prosper.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
Okay, folks, for those of you still here in the chat room, I'm back just for a few minutes tonight. So I just want to dance, says Grumpy Stack. Why are you always awake at 10 o'clock at night? Hey, you got your St. Patrick's Day shirt. Did Mom just make that for you?
Yes.
See, that's the beauty of having the sublimation printer and equipment right here at home. She wanted a shirt to wear tomorrow for St. Patrick's Day, so Mom just made one. You got it on? You want to show it? Where'd you go? Did you go to bed? Oh, she ran off. So there you go. We are out of the radio. Yes, we are indeed. So, well, I hope you enjoyed that. We got more going on tomorrow. Thanks, Carly Sagan. And I wanted to do my new bump music, but I think I will have a copyright problem until I get that one approved. That's if you were listening to any of the archives in the previous few weeks over on Odyssey Radio. I said I want to use this bump music, and I was hoping that Odyssey had the rights to. You can buy the blanket rights to use music. There's her shirt. It says on the back. It says, "Happy St. Patty's Day."
Patrick's.
Patty's. It says Patty. It's short for Patrick. And this is Happy St. Patrick's Day on the front. There you go. Sure is lucky Mom can make those in a flash. So she made that up for school for tomorrow. How about that?
Fell off this chair doing this.
I know.
Looking at that and I'm like,
Come here. So St. Patty's Day tomorrow. And Patrick's. That's like when my older kids, when they were little, and The Hunchback of Notre Dame came out. I inadvertently said it the wrong way. I said Notre Dame because you think of the football. And I said something about, I think I was talking about Notre Dame football. And one of my kids goes, "Dad, that's Notre Dame." I think that was Sam. So he was like 4 or 5. So there you go. Hey, Macabre Menace, good to see you. Haven't seen you for a long time in here. Good to have you. And I was talking about something else, and for the life of me, can't now remember what the heck that was. But before you came into the scene, you got to go to bed.
No,
all right?
thanks.
Goodbye. Yeah, no thanks.
No, thanks.
No thanks. I gave it the office. All right, Ma. You want to have her come over to you? Good night. Bye. I love you. See ya. Scram.
No.
So anyway, there you go. So I'm wearing my Celtic Pride hoodie tomorrow. Outstanding, Leslie. Celtic Pride. And you can go find those over on the my Etsy page. Those Celtic Pride. We got hoodies and we got T-shirts. What'd you think of the weather here today, Leslie? I know everybody here's from all around the country, but we had some almost 60 degrees here today. And had it not clouded over in the afternoon, that sunshine would have been fantastic. So, what's it say? Matt Finn says, Ma, the meatloaf.
Shut the fuck up.
Were you talking to me?
Yeah. Ma. Don't need to hear ma.
Oh, no. That was Matt Finn, not me.
Shut up, Matt Finn. It's not my time.
Come over and say hi.
Okay.
There's Rowan. Okay, good night. I love you. Bye. Want Mom to come over.
Way to hug me much.
Yeah, way to hug you much. That was rainy.
That
by the
was
way.
all Scotty.
That was all rainy.
Almost fixed. You can fix me up when I get over there. Hold on.
There she is.
Hi.
I can fix you up.
Yeah, Ellie's gonna fix me up. Oh, look at those dark circles.
Too bad,
under there.
too sad, Scotty Roberts.
Oh. Look at this. What is
Yeah,
that
what the hell
anyway?
is that?
It's there all the
It's
time.
an age spot. You're old.
No, it's like a bare spot on my
You need to go
face.
get a
Your
facial.
birth-
It's been there for like 3 years, 4 years
Okay.
now.
Your birth
Hi,
month.
Leslie.
Who we saying hi to?
Hi, field guy.
Oh, hey guys. Yeah. Barbie D, good to see you. I don't know. Let's see. Bullshit. He started it. Who started what?
Yeah, Scotty started it.
I started it.
Barbie.
I don't sleep with socks, Leslie, but I put it on my feet. I put it in my armpits.
She's got cold feet
and I
sometime
stick it
too.
all
I'm
over.
sleeping with socks on.
Hey, quiet. Nobody's talking to you.
Alright.
You are an hour and a half past bedtime again. Good night.
They really need to end the time change thing.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Mom.
Hope you're all feeling better, Scotty and Rainey. I've still got the little throaty thing going on, and Rainey, she's got her voice back for the most part.
Yeah.
She yelled at me today, so she got her voice
I did.
back.
Asshat ate my freaking gluten-free bread rolls that were shoved in the back cabinet where nobody can find them because nobody in the house eats gluten-free bread except for me. And the freaking bread box that's like this big that had 5 loaves of bread in it and rolls and stuff to make freaking sandwiches. This dude goes and finds fucking gluten-free rolls and eats them.
That's because all the kids ate all the other ones. I
No,
didn't know
they
those were
didn't.
gluten-free
There was a whole
rolls of
goddamn
yours.
box up there.
Here, wait now.
Guess
Wait.
what, though? There's no box anymore because guess who got pissed off and threw all the fucking bread away? Because somebody ate
Who did that?
gluten-free- I did.
Who threw all the bread away in the house
And you know who's going to
because
suffer?
somebody had a roll that
You know
wasn't
who's going to
theirs?
suffer? Scotty's going to suffer because he doesn't like gluten-free bread, but he ate my rolls. So from now on, all I am buying is gluten-free.
I'll tell you this.
All
Rainey
you're
comes
getting
home with
is
so many
gluten-free.
little bits and pieces and weird
What about
different things. I don't know what's what. And I saw a roll in an individual wrapper last night. And
And
all
so
I know
you
is
ate
all
two
the...
of them.
Wait. I'm
So
still
you ate
talking.
both of them
Excuse me. I'm
because
talking.
there wasn't a bag of rolls in the bread
Nope,
bin.
there
for the-
wasn't.
Yeah, there was.
No,
I even
the
showed
kids
you.
ate them all.
Nope, I even showed you the two.
That was not the bread. Those
Nope.
were not the same thing.
Those weren't the ones that I bought 3 days ago that got eaten.
But the
3
ones you
days
showed
ago.
me were ones that I looked at just earlier, and I was going to ask you if that was mold. It had the white
No,
dusty
those
stuff
were the
on it.
fresh rolls I just bought, so
So-
everybody can make sandwich. So, anyways, Mr. Dumbass goes in the freaking pantry and finds my hidden gluten-free
Look
rolls
into my eye.
that say gluten freaking free on them and ate them. So
I didn't
from
look
now
for a
on-
gluten-free. I thought it was a
from now
kid's thing.
From now on, there will only be crappy white bread or gluten-free.
Whatever.
And you will suffer for the rest of your life because
Oh,
all I
yeah.
wanted after 2 days of not being able to hold food down was to eat a freaking sandwich today, and some jackass ate my freaking sandwich.
Mom.
I didn't know it was yours.
Yeah,
It's that simple. It was in the cupboard.
because a bag in the cupboard that states gluten-free hiding. You're pulling on my hips and it's starting to hurt.
I'm just got my hand around your hip.
It's like
I want to
this.
be mad at
You're
you.
like this, pulling on me while I'm
like,
talking.
what?
Go away. So, anyways, from now on, it's gluten-free bread only. Only gluten-free bread. You want bread? Okay, I'm gonna bring you gluten-free bread because then when you decide you're gonna eat it,
Here, let's see what people are saying.
they're saying you're dumb,
You know
and
what?
that's what you get for eating my bread, dummy.
Mom.
What?
Hey, here's Matt
Go
Finn.
to bed.
Was your name on it, Missy?
Gluten-free was on it.
I don't care. Gluten-free's on
For a
half the
man-
things in our
A
cupboard.
man who bitches about gluten-free everything and gluten-free
I
this
don't
and
bitch
gluten-free
about
that.
gluten-free everything. I even said to you last week, I said, I got to start getting with the program on that.
Okay, good. Because from now on, the only bread in this house is Wonder White bread.
Disqualified.
It's going to be gluten-free. And gluten-free bread sucks balls. And that's why I don't eat it. Except on occasion when I buy myself the char. Gluten-free.
I will say this.
bread
I will
rolls,
say this.
So I can have a sandwich.
That roll of yours that I ate,
Go on my hips, honey.
that roll of yours that I ate today,
Yes.
I didn't even realize it was gluten-free. It
Right?
tasted good.
Because it was good. And then dumbass decides to go buy ciabatta bread, which I freaking hate ciabatta bread.
I got her gluten-free ciabatta bread.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It was a soft roll,
because I don't like it.
and it
I
was
don't like
good.
it. I like it. I don't like it. And he sent me a picture. I said, don't bother. I won't eat it. So now, not only does Scotty have 5 gluten-free ciabatta rolls he needs to eat in the next 3 days before they go moldy, he's got another bag of freaking gluten buns that he's got to eat in the next 3 days before they go moldy. So those all better be gone. And if I find them in the trash, I am going to cram them down.
And you know what? The kids will all eat those too.
No, they won't. They
So-
don't like that kind of bread either.
Okay. I'll eat a lot of bread then.
Okay. Go.
Then,
This is in your
Okay, go to bed.
conversation.
you like
It's
Go to bed.
after 10 o'clock. You get your butt in that bed, or I'm going to grab a spoon
Here,
and
have
chase
a
you
seat.
down.
So I can sit down. All right. So, yeah. So
So Scotty's a jerk. and he's my
there's Rainey's version of the story. My version is I didn't know it was hers.
My version of the story is I'm dumb and I thought that bread hidden way back in the cupboard that said gluten-free on it was for me to eat, even though the bread bin was full of all different bread products and rolls and whatnot.
Yeah. You know, there's this thing in our house about things just everything's kind of nothing has a place.
So what needs to happen
So when
is
things
I
are-
need to buy a lock for the pantry.
I wasn't talking.
No, you weren't talking. You have angry Rainy because you ate my freaking sandwich. 2
But
days. I
you
didn't
know
eat
what
for
I
2
did?
days.
You
I'm
know what I did
hungry,
is
and you ate my sandwich.
the recalcitrant husband. I ran out to the store
No.
to get new gluten-free rolls for
that
her.
was like being pregnant
No,
and wanting
that's
cake.
not good enough. I
And
got to
wanting
run
a
to
cake.
Stillwater
That's like
to
when
get
I
it
was
at the
pregnant.
right
I was
store.
craving a cake. You know what it comes home with?
Yeah.
It's some fucking giant donut. I don't want a goddamn donut. I want a
It
freaking
said
cake
it was a chocolate cake. It just had a hole in the middle.
with stuffing in it.
You
It
know
was
what
a
I saw?
fucking
And she was
donut.
pregnant at the time. She wrote on the label in marker, it said, "This is not cake!" Exclamation point.
Well, it's not. Can I? Yeah, we're after hours. It's not a fucking cake. I
Yeah,
don't know
we're
if
not
it's
on-
not a
on
fucking
air
cake.
right
It's
now.
not a cake.
Oh, yeah.
Not just everybody know it. I'm a Taurus.
But then
I
the,
like food,
then the
but it
kids
better be the
came out
food
and
I
said,
want.
"Ooh,
Not some generic
chocolate
crap,
cake!"
not something dumb. It was a giant freaking donut. It's a giant donut.
It was this big.
It was a giant
and like
donut.
this.
You
It
know
was
what?
like-
You know what? It had yeast in it, and it had the shiny stuff, and it was pulley instead of fluffy. It wasn't a cake. It was.
So
a
this is
giant
when she
icky
was
donut.
pregnant with Ellery. So that's about 8 years ago, almost 9.
Right, and
So-
I will be angry forever that he brought
Go to
me
bed.
a stupid donut and not a cake.
Sorry, I had to smack a naked butt.
And like tonight, there will never be any bread products in our home now except for Wonder White bread and gluten-free bread.
Yep.
I am going to let you learn the joys of how gluten-free bread tastes like crap.
I've had a lot of gluten-free bread.
Yeah, and it tastes like crap until you find those 1 or 2 things you like, and you know you only like those, so you know you only buy
I like
those.
2 different kinds of bread. I like squishy white Wonder Bread because it reminds me of being a kid having PB and Jan squishy white Wonder Bread, which I don't have all that often. I even said to her a couple of weeks ago, "Can we stop getting the squishy white bread? I would like to have when I have a sandwich. Can you go to the grocery when you go to the grocery store? Will you pick up some of that, 72 grain bread for me?"
Which is
And
really just expensive processed crap
so there it is.
that you pay $5 for.
Well,
instead of
okay.
not
And
$5.
so all I did, my only infraction tonight. Are you supposed to be in bed? And are we talking over here?
She's not in bed.
She doesn't have to be in bed.
Go to bed!
Good night. Good night.
I'm going to count to 3 and I'm going to put you outside with the window.
Go in your room, please. So what it really comes
Rowan,
down to.
get your butt in the bedroom now. Matt
Finn says maybe you guys need to write out your terms of a peace deal.
There shall be no peace deal. There will be punishment for life. I do not forgive and I do not forget.
Thank you, Mr. Putin.
You're welcome.
So, and yeah. So
Go
there it is.
Lay down.
I'm not even sure why you're out here.
There will be no sleepover spring break if I got to tell you once more to stay in that room. I'm not
Go
braiding your hair
in your
if you
room.
don't go to bed now. Fucking hate kids.
Anybody want 3 children? Well, Flynn's not out here. He's doing what he's supposed to. He's just...
No, he's not. He's upstairs watching YouTube and playing. He don't listen.
There you go.
None of our kids listen. You know what?
I'll get him to go listen.
It's duct tape. You know why we don't have duct tape in the house? Because the kids fear it.
Yeah, I got a roll of black duct tape right down there.
Tape
Gorilla
them all
tape.
together. And the next 2 kids that fight are getting their hands taped together, hugging each other.
Yep. There it is. Grumpy Stack says, no. Yeah, their own filing system. So, anyway. So I accidentally ate the wrong roll.
No, there was no accident. Dumbass ate my bread.
Yeah, I did it deliberately. I did it to make her feel it. Every bite I took of that roll that
Pretty
had
much.
turkey and cheese and lettuce on it was...
You should have ate bread.
I'm getting you now, Ray.
You're stupid bread man.
I even let it dribble out of my mouth and went, look, I'm even wasting that roll of yours.
Every piece of bread in this house now is gluten-free. You will suffer.
I don't care.
You will suffer till the day
you know what it comes
die.
down to? I don't care.
Yeah, you don't care.
I don't care if it's gluten-free.
And I'm not going to let you have any more credit cards to go buy groceries. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for that. I'll just use my own.
Whatever. I'll steal yours too.
And you can't have that water either.
No, I was going to squeeze it in your face like this.
Don't. I got delicate stuff over here. I got art sitting here. Don't you dare.
I can do whatever I want. You ate my bread.
You ate my roll, so I can do whatever I want. So there you go, folks. Little slice of paradise. Disgustingly terrifying. Who knows what's truly in it to make it last forever?
Right.
What are you talking about? Bread?
Bread. It's all processed crap.
Oh.
The one nice thing about gluten-free bread is it molds pretty damn quick.
Yeah, we'll have a bread day on the radio. Send Scotty bread.
Yeah. And like all the gluten-free bread, I have a loaf and I have a loaf. I keep it in the freezer and I take out a piece or two
loaf in a freezer
at a time when I need it because otherwise it goes bad fast. So not that gluten-free bread is.
Well, see, I thought
really
that bag
healthier.
of rolls, which I didn't see until last night or today, whenever I ate your roll.
Well, you ate them today because...
No, I didn't have any sandwiches.
Then you ate them
today.
Last night after
I had
the
one
radio
sandwich
show
last night.
Because...
And I had a sandwich the night before.
Both were in there yesterday afternoon.
Okay. Then...
you better be lucky that I don't come stab you in the middle of the night. I'm really angry that you ate my roll.
Oh, I'm sorry that's governing your life so much.
It is.
So, here, put your head on this nice leather pillow and tell me how you feel.
Let me put your face in the leather pillow and you tell me if you can scream.
Now imagine if I actually did something wrong.
Oh my God.
What it would be like around here.
Chase him around with the freaking taser.
Yeah, really. So, such good sport. So, let's see. Hold out for roast beef, says Field Guy. Scotty guys.
Not to be like, I don't know that we can
Good-looking
afford roast
honky.
beef anymore with the prices going up.
Hi, Peter North here. Old adult film star. Wife and I enjoy your stream tonight, guys. Thanks, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Good-looking honky, you. I used to watch your films back in the day, but sorry, no offense, not for you.
Yeah, that's where Scotty's lying.
Yeah, shut up. Make everybody think I'm something I'm not. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but so there you go. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the show.
Right.
And this isn't even the real show. This is the afterglow with my
Oh my
lovely
God.
wife.
I don't think I want to be here if it's called that. Gross.
It's not called that. So,
A loaf of bread.
a lot of my best wishes to you, fan.
What?
Thanks, Peter
What?
North.
Oh.
I can't read it that
All
small.
my best.
Hello, all my best wishes to you, fan. Thanks, Peter North. Hey, you're welcome. If you don't know who Peter North is, I'll show you. I'll show her some of your films. So, I'm surprised you didn't get an Oscar. So, there you go.
Roger Rabbit says a loaf of bread from the bakery molds in 3 to 4 days, and a loaf of bread from the bread aisle sometimes doesn't even mold. You know, in Cub Scouts, for one of our advancements, we had to do the germ thing, and you do it on bread.
Yeah.
And even with some of those dirty kid hands and 7 dirty kids touching the bread, it still didn't really mold.
Gross.
It's supposed to mold in a week, and I don't know. I don't know what kind of weird bacteria and crap is on that bread.
Good night, Doug.
Or there's just absolutely no nutrition at all. Yeah, good
Go
night,
to bed.
Doug.
It's an hour later there.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, it isn't. He's in the same time zone.
Yeah, dummy.
Just, 2,000 miles south. Good looking honky. It's a smiley face. Let's see. Take care, Doug. So, folks, I hope you're enjoying the new format of the show
Yeah, yell at Scotty now.
over on Odyssey. What?
I said, yeah, yelling at Scotty. It's going to be yell at Scotty time.
No, that was just
I plan on yelling tomorrow night, too.
whatever.
Yeah.
You're
Whatever.
such a happy person.
Whatever. I am always happy when I get to yell.
How's your self-esteem?
Amazing.
Let's see. It's like 1,200 miles, something like that. 1,900. You okay?
I think so.
I love your braid.
Right? Isn't it beautiful?
It is. You know what these are for?
Or this.
Or that. She's so proud of herself for actually hitting me in the face with it.
Oh,
So,
sorry, guys. That's gross.
yeah, where's your cough button?
We don't have one.
I know. Well, we do. It's right here. See? Boom. He turned my sound up.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, guys, if that was a little hot
Really
through that
loud.
whole thing.
Gross.
So, good night. Much love, positive vibes, favor, and blessings to you all. Hope you guys feel better, Scotty Rennie. Thank you.
thanks.
We're
Scotty
working
can
on
feel
it.
bad for a long time. He and my bread.
Shut up. I can't wait to poop out your roll. When I poop that roll out tomorrow, I'm going to think of you. Ha, take that.
Put it in a bag and give it back.
Here's your, I was going to say, here's your fucking roll. There you go. You want cheese on that?
Gross.
Oh, wait, it's already in it.
You're disgusting.
Oh, I'm so disgusting. Yeah, you're awake when you're not supposed to be. How about that? So, anyway, you okay? You gonna make it?
I'm good. So I don't want to go to bed.
Yeah. Are you feeling awake tonight for some reason?
No, it's the going to sleep. I cough all night.
Oh, that. Yeah.
In the middle of the night and you were coughing in my face.
I know.
You got to take something that's going to put you to sleep for a bit. I don't know. Take some melatonin or something to help you get to sleep.
No.
I notice when I sleep really heavy, I'm not coughing.
That stuff gives me nightmares. No, thank you. I have enough weird dreams.
I had weird dreams last night. So I had good ones too, but
That's great. We need to ask the neighbor too about getting her ring cam footage from last night.
oh yeah.
I want to know what was behind our car.
Rainey thought she saw somebody behind our car at 4 this morning.
I know I saw something.
I was up in the kitchen and she heard something outside, she thought. And
Scotty said maybe a dog, but if it's a dog,
Might have been
it's
a dog.
giant dog.
so, but I did see when I went outside, I saw the neighbors were starting their car up and stuff. They had their outside lights on and they have the big stupid dog over there. So I thought maybe they had their dog out and the dog got loose or something. That's what you saw. So,
They also go to work that early.
do they?
Yep. They work at SCMC.
Good night, Carly.
Making COVID tests.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Bag that shit up and hand it back to her, says Roger
You know
Rabbit.
what, Roger Rabbit? You can suck it! I'm mailing you that special roll. Look for a package.
Look for a package, Roger.
I'm going to priority send it so it doesn't dry out on the way.
There it is. There it is. Yeah, you don't want it to dry. And you got to put it in the thermal bag, to make sure it maintains its heat.
Heck yeah, I will.
So you're going to get a nice steaming package.
Oh my God. I'm stand up over here now.
You can hack right here all you want. So this thing has been moved around so much today. There we go. That's better.
Oh, so gross.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So it's 10:20 here. I am going to go to bed
All
because
right.
I have to braid Rowan's hair and they won't go to sleep until I go lay down because our kids are spoiled little shit monkeys.
All right. And I'll see you in a bit.
Right?
I'm angering Lucy.
All right, guys.
Good night.
Want to thank you for being here. Thanks for
Listening
hanging
to me
out.
yell at Mr. Dummy who ate my rolls.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can send him all the hate mail. I'll make sure he receives it.
Yeah. I think I have all the guys' sympathy tonight.
They don't. They have no
So-
sympathy for you.
Oh yeah, none whatsoever. So anyway, there it is. That's the
Okay.
Roberts house tonight.
Yeah. Thanks for
So-
enjoying the Robert show.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Hey, you want to bounce on my knee?
Not really.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
I love that you look down there. Everybody just watched you do that, you freaking perv. Jeebus.
There you go. All right, guys, we're going to bed. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good
Thanks
night.
for being here. I can't read that far away.
Good night,
night,
Scotty and Rainey. Have a great night, everyone.
We
You
will,
too,
Roger. You have a
Rabbit.
good night, and everybody else.
Yeah.
Barbie D and Roger Rabbit and Michelle Cannon Free, everybody that's in there
Nothing.
tonight. Field guy, I learned a lesson. Never go to Rainy's place and eat rolls.
Yeah, especially if you don't want to get stabbed in the eye.
Hey, welcome to our family Thanksgiving, Brian. Hey, would you like a roll? Rainy would say. You want a dinner roll with that?
You want to roll?
All right, guys, we're out of here.
Back here with a ruler if you touch it.
And you know what? Live long and prosper.
Ow.
Oh, did I hit you in the face? Good night, guys. We're out.